News special segment of PSN at Home's COVID innovation segment. We're coming to you live, but recorded, to talk about some of the new innovations that we're seeing during this COVID pandemic. I am Jason Karp, Esquire, along with my good friend and colleague, Timothy Juniper Kennedy, otherwise known as TJ. How you doing, TJ?
I'm doing good. I think the juniper has a nice gin ring to it for some reason.
I think so. You know, and I know how your affinity for gin and for craft cocktails, so I thought that would work well.
Well, we're going to be talking about distillers a little bit later in the segment, so maybe that's an appropriate thing.
Absolutely. So we want to highlight just really innovative and exciting developments, creativity that we're seeing in the industry globally and here in America. Really pushed by this COVID pandemic. And, if there's anything that's good coming out of this is, a good disaster, leads to innovation, or so we hope. And that we're definitely seeing that here, and critically important, not only for us during this pandemic, but, in order to kind of, accelerate different innovation, use of technology, even post this pandemic. So very exciting. And we're going to take you through some of the latest and greatest that we're hearing, across the newswire. So let's get started. So what are rocket scientists and engineers doing in their spare time now that they can't fly rockets to the moon? That's a question.
Designing cool new ways to keep our first responders and our citizens safe.
Yes. So, for example, ventilators. So, for example, NASA engineers at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory have devised a high-pressure ventilator tailored specifically to COVID-19 patients. Very cool.
Jet propulsion, breathing, oxygen, all sounds good to me.
It is dubbed VITAL, V-I-T-A-L.
Are you telling me that people that work on a regular basis with the federal government came up with the acronym before they came up with the invention? Maybe.
Maybe people in the industry like acronyms a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
This one's kind of exciting. Employees at the Armstrong Flight Research Center are partnering with Virgin Galactic to create a pressurized helmet that acts like a CPAP machine, forcing oxygen into the lungs. Now, the ventilator stuff we kind of heard about. This is pretty unique. I mean, that's pretty creative.
When we look at how difficult COVID has been for those with pulmonary issues and just how much it knocks them down in their breathing, that's pretty cool and inventive.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. But check out this next one. So there's a company called Bridenstine. Just love their name. It's like the Bride of Frankenstein combined, like Bridenstine. They're coming up with new things, combined.
None of that ever crossed my mind when I read this article.
Okay, in any event. So Bridenstine had created a decontamination device robot for missions to Mars to decontaminate equipment and things that have come from Earth. So there's no microbes and viruses and things that are brought to the planet. Well, they've repurposed that to create essentially a COVID-killing decontamination device. It's essentially a professional fogger that you can put in any device, any room, any vehicle. Doesn't leave any residue and is apparently guaranteed to kill virus and the COVID-19 virus in particular. So that's pretty cool. That's a good use of space technology.
I do think that's going to really help when we talk about mass transit, and we talk about airlines, and we talk about other things that need to be decontaminated on a regular basis, but also not be harmful. Great idea, great invention.
And this is going to become the new normal, right? I mean, just more and more, we're going to see an emphasis on decontamination, and we're going to need to see more products like this. So that's phenomenal thinking. We're seeing a big uptick in the use of 3D printers. I mean, we've all kind of seen them and used them, and they're fun and now becoming more and more useful. But now we're seeing 3D printers being put to use during COVID. For things like a door push pull device. So a Welsh citizen, and now we're seeing these really all over the web, developed kind of this key push pull device from a 3D printer that allows you to push a door open or pull it without having to touch it. You can use it to push buttons, and so you have a kind of touchless ability to get in and out of places, which is really important. There's a British peer, I guess, has developed another, something similar called the hygiene hook. And I don't want anyone going where they shouldn't go. It's the hygiene hook.
So to change the subject, Jason, on that, I think what's cool about innovation with 3D printers is that folks can share their designs freely and share them with others, so that the cool thing that they maybe invented yesterday could be put out on the web and shared with millions of other folks who may also take advantage of that if they so choose. And many people are willing to do that. And I think it's going to really help drive some pretty cool inventions that make us all safer.
No, absolutely. Being able to put designs out for face masks and other things that anybody can use. I know that at Wisconsin, Badger Shield has done some of that, and using students and engineers to create new PPE. So super exciting. Now turning a little bit towards some of the medicines and medical solutions and medical research. We've got a lot going on here. So we all know that there's been testing going on, and traditional testing is kind of a nose swab. Now they do the antibody testing with blood, taking blood. But you've got Abbott Laboratories and others that are developing now a high-speed test so that you don't have to wait, days and weeks, but literally in a matter of minutes you can get results, and that's huge, right? I mean, if you're going to test potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people over time, being able to have results almost real time is a huge step forward.
And I believe that having real-time testing and lots of testing is going to make a huge difference in this. And I think also making these tests easier to administer, like we've seen with the Rutgers announcement this week. Those Scarlet Knights out of Rutgers seem to be coming up with some pretty cool ideas. Being able to have a saliva test that is not so invasive, that is just as accurate as it appears to be in the early testing, and that getting approved this week. To me, that's going to be a huge positive step for testing around the world, for that matter.
No, outstanding. Absolutely right. And in fact, LabCorp, which I know is a local lab around here, but they're, over across the whole nation, is also coming up with an at-home test. So again, another way to kind of deal with these kinds of things where, if we could purchase our own tests and have them and, test ourselves regularly, get the results back potentially in a matter of minutes. But then, if you're combining some of these technologies, that can really make a huge difference in controlling some of these, these virus spread and the pandemic. So now we move to our face shield and hand sanitizer segment. So also some great stuff going on here. I want to give a big shout out to Catoctin Creek Distillery. Not easy for me to say, but that's here in Loudoun County. They did this almost immediately after the lockdown, which was they converted their distillery facilities into making hand sanitizer, and they gave it away for free.
Our local Vicra distillery here in town also did the same thing, and they were just amazing at quickly converting. And then for those of you who are fans of mixing your own drinks along with your hand sanitizer as two separate events, clean hands, clean hygiene, but still having a drink, they're even selling for curbside pickup drink kits that allow you to have all your mixers and other things picked up to make it very easy to enjoy your weekend or your evening or other things after work. So I think it's a nice combination of keeping people safe while at the same point allowing them to relax after a long day at the office or at home.
So are they delivering to Virginia?
They are not, but that is a good question. If you knew somebody who would ship it to you, maybe.
So another innovative kind of retasking is Evans Drumheads, who owns Diodario. You may be familiar with them. They make guitar strings and very famous music manufacturing outfit. They are using their drum heads and are repurposing them to make face masks. So that's pretty cool. You can wear your face mask, come home, and then you can record, drum solo on your head when you get back to the house. So very cool.
That's a heck of a pivot in a business model. I just have to say kudos to them for thinking through that.
I mean, talk about thinking creatively and just, making lemons, right? Or making lemonade, I should say, out of lemons. That's a really phenomenal kind of pivot, absolutely. Another company that I'm familiar with called Ink and Burn. They're a very small athletic gear company. They make very bright and colorful athletic shirts and pants and shorts and these kinds of things.
I've seen you wear those before.
Yeah, and they use a lot of local artists. It's a great small business. They have pivoted, and literally daily they have a release of face masks that they are now putting together, and 3 layers, and they also take filters. So you can get a filter, you can buy bulk filters and add them to the face mask. I know a lot of companies are doing this. Ink and Burn's just one of many. There's a lot of individuals doing this, who are turning their attention, their skills to helping out making these face masks. As we know, the CDC now, recommends that just about everybody is wearing face masks, cloth face masks at least, when they're out and about in public. So just, again, a great way to repurpose what they're doing. And, kudos to everybody who's pitching in to help and create this PPE, both the consumers and first responders. So another kind of what's old, what's new is what I'm calling this. But so True Value Hardware. We all know True Value. True Value paint cans in that process. Well, they have pivoted, and although they don't make alcohol and we can't drink their paint, they are also making hand sanitizer and using their facilities to distribute hand sanitizer with their and using their paint cans and the like. So again, another pivot, very cool. It's too bad we can't drink it, but you know, still awesome benefit for everybody in need out there.
And along with companies like True Value, we're seeing companies like Exxon, who is deeply involved in the public safety industry every day. They made sure they were sending out hand sanitizer along with masks and other personal protective equipment to public safety agencies across the country. Seeing everybody really step up to make sure our first responders especially have the PPE that they need and deserve to work with every day, I think it's just critical, and I can't thank all the companies that are doing that enough.
Yeah, there's a Houston area industrial painting company staying on that theme, who AK Wetworks, who excuse me, I'm getting a correspondent call.
Could you turn that vibrating phone off that's on the desk right now?
Yeah, it was like no, we lost the satellite connection. Okay, well we'll have to come back to our correspondent for some live breaking news. But a Houston area industrial painting company called AK Wetworks has repurposed their vapor sandblasting machines, again, for disinfectant applicators. We talked about this earlier with the space technology, but this is using sandblasting technology to create what they call the COVID killer, and again, to be able to sanitize a range of different surfaces. So that's super cool.
It's a killer name. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is, TJ. And then the last couple here, California Energy Storage Company, Bloom Energy, which makes distributed power generation systems, is refurbishing ventilators. So we've talked a lot about ventilators, and we know auto manufacturers have moved and pivoted to do that as well. And then finally, a company called Safran, which makes heavy-duty fabrics. So I'm talking like fabrics in parachutes and cockpits. You know, these are serious fabrics. And they're looking to make spare parts for PPE and both in supporting ventilators in their plant in Belgium, but also for masks and gowns that are very heavy duty. So again, you know, another creative way to help ensure, you know, with all the lack of PPE, and as you know, we spoke with Chief Ludwig earlier in the week, and you know, the concern about lack of PPE for first responders and others. So seeing this kind of innovation and these companies taking steps to help out that are outside the normal, you know, supply chains is very encouraging.
No, absolutely. And we're here in town. Two of our companies, Duluth Pack and Frost River, both make outdoor packs, a heavy canvas, very heavy duty, and they've converted their factories to doing personal protective equipment for first responders and hospitals as well. And huge demand, big orders coming in, and also they just did it because it was the right thing to do. Actually has now turned into an additional business for them because they just did the right thing for our healthcare workers and our first responders. Yeah,
that's what it's all about. So. But with that ends this special COVID innovation segment that we wanted to bring to you, all of the unique and innovative ideas that are going on right now across the industry, across the globe. If you have other thoughts or ideas, you know, please reach out to us at www.publicsafety.network. Let us know what you're hearing. And until next time, be safe out there.
Thanks, everybody.